Hey, brothers and sisters and friends and family members, this is Job Titus Cannon. I wanted to give you this scripture because I want to encourage you. And it comes from Nehemiah 8 and 10. It says, the last part of it says, "For the joy of the Lord is your strength." For the joy of the Lord is your strength. Let me say that again. For the joy of the Lord is your strength. And I'm here to tell you today, there's a joy in serving God. There's a joy in serving God. Let me say it one more time. There's a joy in serving God. Let me tell you a little bit about Nehemiah. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. Nehemiah is a very important book of the Bible, of the Old Testament. It comes right after Ezra in the Old Testament. Nehemiah was a captive from Israel. Now, if you read the Old Testament, Israel went through a time in this period where they had evil kings, and Israel did not do what God had told them to do. So God allowed them to be captive and be captured by Nebuchadnezzar, which was a Babylon ruler. And at this particular time of the book of Nehemiah, it was in between the 60th or 70th year of captivity. So at this particular time, there was a king, Artaxerxes, who was the king at the particular time, who was the ruler of Persia, which we know as modern day Iran. So during this time, Nehemiah was elevated to a position in the palace, in the king's palace. He was what you call a cupbearer. He was very important because this person was kind of in charge of making sure that the king's food was right, because at that particular time you had people that can kind of infiltrate the kingdom and poison the king's food. So he was really, really important. But he had heard that there were some people had told him that Israel was in a destitute situation. There were people that's out there that had came back to Israel, but Israel was in shambles. People in Israel was living in destitute situations. There was poor. There was no walls that was going down there. And that grieved Nehemiah. Now, Nehemiah was concerned about his people. He had a love for Israel. He wasn't the kind of person to say, "Hey, I got to get mine, you got to get yours." He wasn't worried about where he was, even though he was in a great situation with the king. He was concerned about his people. So if you look in the book of Nehemiah, in his first chapter, I think starting at verse 4, he prayed a great prayer because he was concerned. He prayed a fervent prayer to God. And let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, prayer is so important because that is communication with God. God saw his heart. And not only that God saw his heart, he was still grieved. He came in front of the king, and the king asked him. Now, the king didn't have to ask him, "Hey, man, what's going on with you? You can't be coming around here with all of this sob story." But he asked the king and told the king the situation. And the king sent him resources. The king not only sent him resources, but the king sent him men and a letter so he can go back to Israel to help the people that was in trouble, the people that was living in deplorable situations. Boy, we need more Nehemiahs in today's world. Nehemiah was a man that had a relationship with God, that loved God, had a strong prayer life, and had a concern for his people. Great book to read, great book to read. So within 52, 56 days, when he came there with a mind to work, He was able to build that wall within 50 something days, less than 2 months. But of course, whenever you come and try to do something for God or try to do something good, you're going to always have haters. You're going to always have people that try to deter you from doing great things. But you need to do what Jeremiah did. Brush them haters off. Stay focused and do God's work. And if you read eventually, not only Nehemiah helped build that wall, but he helped to restore Israel. And the king actually made him governor. Great story. Read that in your time of meditation, in your time of devotion, and you will see how God used Nehemiah. But I'm here to let you know that the joy of the Lord is your strength. I'm not saying that you're not going to go through trouble. I'm not saying that you're not going to go through issues and problems in your life. But there is a joy in serving God. Let me give you 3 things that the joy of the Lord will help you with or provide in your life. Number 1, the joy of the Lord will give you purpose. Nehemiah had purpose. Nehemiah wanted to do something good for his people. It didn't matter where he was. He prayed to God. God made a way. That's why prayer is so important. He had purpose. Not only did he have purpose, God allowed him to have power. The king gave him power and resources for him to go back and help build that kingdom. And I just want you to know God will give you power if you ask him. If you have a consistent prayer life and a relationship with God, God will not only give you purpose, but he will give you power. And after Nehemiah went through all of those situations with the haters and the people that just couldn't stand him and all of these other people. Who are you, man, coming back here trying to do stuff over here? You've been away from me all this time. God also gave him peace. I just want you to know, my brothers and sisters, through the example of Nehemiah, God will give you purpose. God will give you power. God will give you peace, because there's a joy in serving God. God bless you.